Well, tonight I'm riding a black unicorn down the side of an erupting volcano, and I drink from a chalice filled with the laughter of small children. Welcome to the Lair of Voltaire. Thank you for joining me. This is the February 2022 Voltaire Video Newsletter, coming to you live from the Lair of Voltaire. There's so much to cover today. I've got some possibly tragic news about Gothic homemaking, and I'm probably going to be singing a world premiere song from the Black Labyrinth. But before we get into all of that, of course, what are we going to do? We're going to do what we always do. We're going to talk about where am I playing near you. And I've got a lovely little graphic for that. Is it this one? Nope, it's this one. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, February 12th, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona at Rebel Lounge. We will literally be packing up these lights and getting on an airplane. So I'll see you in Phoenix tomorrow. And then February 26th, I'm in Jacksonville, Florida at Bold City Con. Very excited to be seeing my dear friend, Mr. Doug Jones, who played Pan in Pan's Labyrinth and the crazy monster in Shape of Water and so many other wonderful creatures. He'll be there as well. So come say hello to us both. And then March 5th, I'll be in Atlanta for not Dragon Con, which is shocking. Halfway to Dragon Con, I'll be performing at The Masquerade. So if you've ever, resisted coming to my shows at Dragon Con because you didn't want to be squished in between 80,000 people, this might be the show for you in Atlanta, Georgia. And then March 12th, I'm in Shawnee, Oklahoma at the Ritz. And I think it's my very first time playing in Shawnee, so that'll be fun. And then March 18th, I'm in Burlingame, California at Clockwork Alchemy, which is a very fun steampunk convention. But does it end there? No, it does not end there, because then Mayumi and I are going to cross the pond. Just got our work permits today. We are all official and ready. This tour of the UK has been postponed several times at this point. I was really starting to believe it was just never, ever going to happen. Tickets are purchased. I mean, like, flights are purchased. We've got our flights, and all the venues are nailed down, and it doesn't seem yet like anything is going to get in the way of this tour happening. So let us talk about what those dates are. Sadly, the Wolverhampton show was canceled because the venue shut down and we couldn't find another one there or even in Birmingham. So sadly, there will not be a Wolverhampton or Birmingham show on this tour. So the tour is going to start April 9th in Glasgow at Ivory Blacks, and then April 14th in Edinburgh at Opium, and then April 13th in York at the Fulford Arms, April 14th in Manchester at Night People, April 15th in Bristol at Exchange, and April 16th in London at Nambucca. And, I've got a little graphic for this too. Where is it? I thought I had one. Well, no, it's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one. Bloody hell. Is it that one? Yeah, there it is. Concert details can be found at voltaire.net/calendar. So if you want to find out how to get tickets to these shows, go there. If you want to find out if it's all ages, if it's 21 and up, the address of the venue, all of that fun stuff can be found there. And now I can't get out of my graphic. There we go. I'm back. So I do encourage you to purchase tickets in advance, particularly for the UK tour. So please go to Voltaire. Where am I? There we go. Voltaire.net/calendar and get your tickets today. If you live in the States, maybe I'll be seeing you tomorrow in Phoenix or in Shawnee or in Atlanta or in Jacksonville, Florida, or one of those fine places. And of course, it's early in the year. I am constantly booking shows, so it's just a matter of time before I play in a major city near you with any luck. So now we've gotten that out of the way. What should we discuss next? What's next on the agenda? Oh, well, there's a little graphic I like to put up. It looks like this. Please hold your questions for the Q&A at the end. You know, these video newsletters, they're kind of like a State of the Union address. I'm letting you know like what I'm doing this month, where you can find me on the road this month, what I'm recording, stuff like that. So I don't even look at the comments for like the first 45 minutes. And I feel bad sometimes because people will send super stickers or super chats and they attach a question. And the idea is like, hey, I'm throwing you $5. Please notice my question and answer it. And I feel terrible when I find out that I skipped a whole bunch of them because I was talking. So now you know, it says, please hold your questions for the Q&A at the end because there's always a Q&A at the end. So hold on for that. You know, super chats, super stickers, all that stuff, any kind of donations are greatly appreciated, especially now as I'm working on the Black Labyrinth and spending all of my money on that. But I don't want you to feel like I didn't get to your question. So if that's the purpose of the super sticker, just wait till the end. Now, speaking of the Black Labyrinth, now I can actually like quickly glance at some oh wait, Voltaire, your music led me to find La Santa Muerte. Okay, I said I wasn't going to read the comments. Here I am reading comments. All right, hold your questions to the end. Let's get through this video newsletter. So next up is the Black Labyrinth. I did quickly because I did miss a super chat. I just want to say thank you, John. Thank you very much. Hola y amor para ti, my human.
Hello, John. Thank
Chadley.
you.
Thanks, John. All right, now it's back to not looking at the comments. And so Black Labyrinth, as you may know by now, it's like a 20-song musical tribute to the Goblin King, tribute to David Bowie via the Goblin King. It is really taking shape. It is really taking shape. And as you also know, as you probably by now, a lot of you may know, I have a lot of David Bowie's longtime collaborators recording on this album, which is just such a source of joy for me, like getting to play with the people who brought their magic to David Bowie's records and having them come into the studio and share that talent and that vision with me on this album has been a thrill that absolutely would never have happened without the support of my friends on Patreon. So I'm going to plug that for a second right there. On Patreon, my patrons are hearing so much of the album as it gets recorded. They are seeing so much of the art as it gets drawn. And there's a tier, not going to lie, it's the most expensive one. It's $33 a month called Keys to the Goblin City. And those people literally get everything. Like they literally have heard the entire album as it exists to this date. So like when I went into the studio and recorded all the, like myself singing and playing acoustic guitar, they've heard all those tracks. And then I added drums with David Bowie's drummer, Sterling Campbell, and they got all those tracks. And then I added bass with Gail Ann Dorsey and with Mark Plati, two of Bowie's bass players, and then they got all of those tracks. And these people literally, these supporters get they're on this journey with me. They get absolutely everything that happens. Every little note is heard by them in its entirety, you know. So, of course, if you can't afford that level or you just don't want to be on that layer, or tier rather, you know, I totally get it. Believe me, because we're gonna get to that later. We're gonna get to not having enough money later, but that's a whole other story for a little bit later. So I totally get not having enough money to get the things that you want to get. But you know, all of the other, literally, if you're on the $2 tier, you get so much of the record and so much of the book. So it's worth it. And if you want to support, let me just tell you, now is the time. It is crunch time. This album now has a release date. It's June 27th, which is the day the film Labyrinth was released. So it's like the 36th anniversary of the release of Labyrinth. I felt that date was perfect. But once I chose it, I was like, oh my God, now I actually have to like finish this record in time. So it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Think about this. I've got orchestral tracks that have like 20 trombones and trumpets and a French horn section and a bassoonist and like 3 tubas and 20 strings and a choir of people singing. Like there's so many layers to pretty much all of the songs that every single song I'm paying an artist to bring their artistry to the album, whether that artist is a bassoonist or a bass player or let's see, Erhu. There's Erhu on the album, beautiful Erhu playing on the album. hammer dulcimer, mandolin. There's some really, there's marimba. There's some really interesting instruments, but every single track, none of it is synthesizers. Every single track is a musician that I've hired, paying them a living wage to come and do what they love and what they're good at to make this album as good as it can possibly be. But that means that like every track costs a fortune. And then when you start getting in people who are like, legitimately famous, and that ups the price. So it's a very, very expensive album. And I just want to say I appreciate so much anybody who's contributed thus far. If you're on the fence, let me just tell you, now is the time to do it because it's crunch time. So now that I've gotten all that out of the way, I do want to show you just some of the creative aspects that have happened recently with the Black Labyrinth. Now, as you may know, I've shown these in some of the other streams. Like, there's an illustrated book, and here's some illustration. This is an illustration by Abigail. Let me get this graphic out of here. Hold on one second. Let me get that out of there. All right, now we can see better. So this is an illustration from the novel, the illustrated novel of the Black Labyrinth, and this one's by Abigail Larson, who's just absolutely incredible, super talented. And there are illustrations by Erin Horrors. This is the latest one by her. It is so good. Look at that. You're seeing this for the first time. If you're not one of my patrons on Patreon, you are seeing this for the first time. This exactly captured the mood I was looking for this like nighttime creepy parade in the Goblin City. And this one, so that's by Erin Horrors. And then Drea D. Art. I've never spoken to her face to face, so I'm never quite sure if it's pronounced Dread Art or Drea D. Art. So I hope she will forgive me. She's done so many of them, I could show you a bunch of them. There's the illustration for Safe in Your Love, which is just really, I think, captures the feeling of the scene from Labyrinth, the as the world falls down scene. And then there's another artist working on the project now called Clara Martin Marino, and she's done some really lovely villain shots. This is one of them. This is the illustration that corresponds with the page for The King of Villains. I thought I had uploaded the one for, you know what? I'm going to upload it right now. Let's get this out of here so you can see my face. Welcome back. I am just going to go ahead and upload the main boss page because it is so spectacular. Let's see. I got to figure out how to do this. So we're going to go see, as always, I clearly don't care if I come across as professional or as a complete knucklehead. As long as you and I understand each other and as long as I can share with you, the cool stuff that's happening on this album. All right. So I am presently, can you see me? Oh, you can see me. There you are. I am presently looking through my files. Oh, found the folder. And now I just got to find the right page. What the hell is this page called? What Will We Do? Kill the Beast. Safe in Your Love. The King of Villains. No, it's not that one. In Light of Recent Events. There it is. I found it. There we go. So this is like the final boss page. I probably shouldn't be showing you this so soon before the album and book comes out, but blah, here we go. Look at that. That is the final boss monster, directly inspired by Chernabog from Disney's Fantasia. In fact, there are a lot of Disney references in this story. And if you watch my streams, you know that there's a song, The King of Villains, where I quote a whole bunch of Disney films. I'm going to play that. You know what? Give me a second. I'm going to play that part for you. I see I remember how it goes because I'm kind of jumping in right in the middle. That's why you can, and of course, see if you can guess who all of these villains are that I'm quoting. That's why you can trust in me, just in me, because I've got friends on the other side. You poor unfortunate souls, your diamonds in the rough. And now, with your permission, I'm going to do my stuff. No one can deny that what I do, I am the best. When this hellfire, this dark fire I spill as a specimen, why? It's intimidating, yes. If this don't scare you, no evil thing will. So let's sound the drums of war. It's like music in the air. It's time to follow me, so be prepared. Oh, c'est la vie, mon ami. Black sorcery's my dish of tea. You've got to let it go. My power flurries through the air. Eureka! I am the villain king. And then the song goes on. And that is, of course, in there because Chernabog doesn't get mentioned in a song, and I really wanted to reference Chernabog. That's like Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain. Da, da, dun, 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 dun. Or at least as good as I'm going to get, as good as it's going to get with me trying to play Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain. But anyway, so that is, there's like I said, there's a lot of Disney references because I'm a big old Disney goth. And despite the fact that it's like an homage to Labyrinth and the Goblin King, it has so many elements of so many other like really cool 80s fantasy stuff that, you know, that's probably cheesy as hell to a lot of people, but that I grew up with and I love so much. So there's like Dark Crystal references, and there's Never Ending Story references. There's Last Unicorn references. It draws from so many different, mostly 80s cool fantasy projects. And hopefully in the end, it will be the single most epic thing I've ever made. That is my goal. My goal is for it to be just the most epic thing I've ever made. I'll play you a little song in case you haven't heard this. Here's just a snippet of the very first song in this opera musical. It's called The King is Dead. It takes place during the Goblin King's funeral. Yeah, spoiler alert, Goblin King dies on page number 1, but that is kind of the whole point, isn't it? Anyway, this doesn't have strings yet, but it has, well, you'll see. Let's take a listen. Do I have the sound on? I may not. I do. That's Japanese taiko drums, recorded in Japan. Here come the horns. Some of them recorded in America, some of them recorded in Ukraine. Still needs French horns. Gotta get some French horns in there. And it's orchestral percussion right here. Tubular bells, timpani. Just insane. And now I'm just going to fast forward a little bit to some of the singing. Just so you can hear some of the choir work that's been done on this song. And this orchestra, remember, still needs its strings, still needs its woodwinds.
He was the candle in the cave. And through the night, he was the star we followed. His voice could save the day. But now the king is dead. The king is dead. The king is dead. The king is dead.
It's a requiem. It really, really is. And I hope, I mean, my hope is for it to be really grand, just for it to be so huge and so massive. It's not quite there yet, But I'm working on it one instrument at a time. One instrument at a time. A tuba one day, a bassoon the next day. I should play a little of the bassoon solo. Let's get to the bassoon. Very first time I've ever recorded bassoon. Bassoon! And I'm not going to spoil the surprise, so that's all I'm going to play for you so far from that song. Some other developments that have happened in recent history. Here's another good one. This is called A Song for the Goblin King. This was an instrumental. But in recent history, I've added hammer, dulcimer, and mandolin, which has really created a really magical sound. Take a listen. Just imagine this as the opening theme for like a fantasy film from the 80s. Air Hoo! Of course, recorded. Hammer dulcimer. Okay, I gotta be careful. I'm just gonna play you the whole damn album. So the first couple songs, you know, they have this, one of them has like a sort of epic fantasy, folky, epic quality. And the other one is like this requiem, right? With a massive choir and orchestra. It isn't until the third song that it starts to sound like, you know, like a rock album with this one, Friends in the Dark. Check out these horns. You know what I could do too is I can put up the illustration that corresponds with this song.
Lightning strikes up the animals, scream back to the holes. A million eyes of the jungle, wishing were alone. The trees make buttons all of their bodies moving into sinister.
You think those guys look like the Fireys?
Right.
It's because you might be right.
Just about to begin. The night is falling. The faith is faltering. And you're alone. What's your purpose in mind? Find you alone in the dark. You can pray to the Lord of the night, but you ain't gonna get too far. You can sit in the cold dark night and just hope to respond. Look your way in the day, but only friends in the dark.
And if you think that those backing vocals sound really awesome, it's because that really low voice is Captain John Sprocket from The Cog is Dead. He actually sings on quite a few songs on this album. But this just gave me this terrible, like the worst idea I've ever had, which is to play you every single song on the album with a corresponding page from the book. No? No, yes, I don't know. You're waving in the darkness, and I can't tell what you're trying to tell me. Don't do it. Do it. Do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do it. I don't know. You know what? I think maybe I'll save that for next month when we're like getting really, really frighteningly close to being finished, hopefully. Maybe I'll do it then. And then, you know what? But now I teased you, and I hate teasing people and then not delivering. So let me just do at least one more. I'm going to do one more, okay, like this. I'm going to show you, because this song to me, it is not by any stretch of the imagination one of like the most epic songs when it comes to like the instrumentation or the amount of instruments or anything like that. This song to me just like gelled, and it's the first song on the album that I got to a point where I was like, this is done. Like, this is done. Like, one day it just gelled. Well, really, Sterling Campbell, David Bowie's drummer, had played the drums on this song. Gail Ann Dorsey, his bass player, had played the bass. And it was like just a string of other Bowie people came in and did their thing. And it just like, something about it just didn't feel done. And then Jerry Leonard, one of David Bowie's guitarists, who also goes by Spooky Ghost, really, really fantastic musician from Ireland. He came in and he did his thing, and immediately it all just like gelled. And I thought, oh my God, this is how I know it's good. It doesn't sound like me. Like when I hear it, I'm like, wow, this sounds really good. This sounds like it could be on the radio. This doesn't sound like me. So I think that's sadly, that's like my barometer for what I think is good. But I'm going to show you, this is Safe in Your Love. And I wrote this song in Mayumi's kitchen, and quite clearly the song is about Mayumi and how I feel about her. And it's how, the whole story of Black Labyrinth really started developing as I sat in a rocking chair, outside of Mayumi's kitchen, writing these songs, this one in particular, very early on. And then the story just started to develop from there. So anyway, I'm going to show you the graphic here. No, I think I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to start the song. Let's start the song. This is Safe in Your Love. And here is the art.
Castaway, drifting in the blue, searching for a friendly shoulder, so long to find you. Up that wilderness I roam, took me to your home and gave me shelter from the storm. Say, all of the world just melts away. So love is in a tempest I can't take.
Isn't that lovely? It's my metal lead guitarist. And singing backing vocals on that is Holly Palmer, one of David Bowie's favorite backing vocalists. There's just a whole bunch of really cool people working on the album. And Mayumi will be singing backing vocals on that one too. We're going to be going back into the studio on Monday. Excuse me, garbage truck. See, if we were shooting Gothic Homemaking right now, I'd have to stop entirely. But it's a newsletter. No one cares. There can be garbage trucks outside and bum fights and drunken yuppies misbehaving as they do on the weekends in the East Village. But in any case, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, we're going in the studio on Monday to record Mayumi's backing vocals on some of the songs. And I have a song that I need to work on as well, The King of Villains. I needed to change some lengths on things. So we'll be doing that. And then, this is super exciting. Remember I told you that the horns on Friends in the Dark to me sound like I asked you if they sounded familiar. They sound like Notorious from Duran Duran. Well, that was the intention, was to make them sound like Notorious. And it's a lot easier to get that sound when you're actually using the horn player who played those horns in Notorious. So Steve Elson, who is an incredible horn player and played the baritone sax solo in Modern Love, but was all over that album. He's all over the Let's Dance album. Also happened to be a horn player on Duran Duran's album Notorious. I had no idea. Found that out while we were in the studio. And I was so excited. And we will be going back into the studio. Let me see if I have a picture. Do I have a picture of Steve? No, I'm going to have to show you that one next month too. I guess I came unprepared. We're going to go back into the studio on Monday to record Mayumi and myself. And then on the 16th, we're back in with Steve Elson. Steve will be playing probably alto sax on Better Than You and baritone sax and regular sax as well, sort of like a horn section on that song. And he played flute on I Laugh in the Face of Death. I said I wasn't going to do this, right? And here I am about to do it. This is the page for I Laugh in the Face of Death. And here's a little bit of the song with flute. I don't know why I'm so surprised. I never thought I'd use a flute.
I was just a child when I got this scar and all the while I was not prepared for a world so cruel. I was so scared. It only got worse. Every day I lived felt like a curse. Then one day I just broke, and in my despair I made a joke. And I laughed, Ever since that day, well, I guess you could say I've been this way.
Flute is bouncy as hell.
I still get sad.
I hope that I'm giving you the impression, whether it's correct or not, that this album is awesome. I really hope so. Because I've just never, ever done anything this crazy before, this massive, this big, with this many instruments, this many musicians, this many Bowie collaborators for sure. It's just been quite a ride. And it's got a ways to go. Speaking of which, should we wait for the sirens to end? The sirens do nothing but sing on tomorrow's pages. That's by the Psychedelic Furs. We'll be seeing them in March. Oh my God, will you even be here?
Oh,
you may not be here.
What? No.
I got 2 tickets, front row seats. Not
Which?
really, for like 3rd row. I don't know, March something. Oops, all right, well, maybe. I don't know if you'll be here. I might have to take Mars. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go see the Psychedelic Furs. That has nothing to do with anything else. It's just a fact. In any case, that's all. I'm not going to play you any more of the album. Is that true? Is that true? Am I really not going to play you any more of the album? Yeah, I got to stop. You're going to just know what the whole album sounds like super spoiler, right? I could play you this. I'm going to play you this. I can't have I don't have an image to show you because Abigail Larson is presently working on the illustration for this song. It's called The Shadow That Falls Over You. But I'm going to play you a little bit because I'm very, very honored and proud to say that Mia Asano, violinist, TikTok sensation, Mia Asano plays the violin on this. She's got over 500,000 followers on TikTok. I suck at TikTok. I've got 8 followers. All right, it's maybe 15,000. But, these people get on TikTok and they make videos every day and they end up having millions and millions of followers. What's her name? What's that lady that I'm always talking about and I can never remember her name?
Which state?
Bella Poach. Bella Poach. I
God.
can't sing the words because it's naughty. But yeah, she has, what, 86 million followers on TikTok. Anyway, so Mia Asano, super talented violinist, and as I said, TikTok sensation, plays on this song. She kicks major ass. The first thing you're going to hear is a cello, but then you'll hear the violin come in. It goes like this. I'd like to dedicate this song to everybody who's been stuck inside for the last couple of years.
Don't charge, I need you no harm. I am here for thee. What's happening to you, happening to me? Be still, I mean, well, rest your head. I've come as a friend.
Oh, man, you can knock over the computer and everything. Anyway, I love that song. I think that song, you know, it's presently only has cello and violin, not a lot else going on. I might leave it that way because it occurred to me that it was the most Devil's Briss-ish of like all the songs on the record, in that, you know, the Devil's Briss, that entire album, probably the next one too, Almost Human, is just like, you know, what gives that album its flavor is really that it's just drums, acoustic guitar, one cello, one violin. That's it. There's nothing else on those albums, and voice, obviously, but that's it. And this song so far, that's all it has. It has violin, cello, drums, acoustic guitar, and voice. I'm like, I'm going to ruin this by adding 37 million more instruments. And on my quest to use instruments I've never used before, like, am I going to butcher this song by adding didgeridoo? So I might leave it just the way it is. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed hearing some of the album. Again, if you are on my Patreon, you're sitting here watching this going, boring, heard all of these. And of course, if you're in the Goblin Keys to the Goblin City tier, then you have heard all these songs in their entirety. If you'd like to join us right there, I'm going to leave it up for a little while, see if it inspires you. I feel like Jerry Lewis. I'm like, we're standing by the phones. Just standing by the phones. Send your money in right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I kind of teased on my Instagram and on my Patreon that I might play a world premiere song from the Black Labyrinth. And Cthulhu forbid I should come across as a liar. So this is a song that, in the scheme of the 20, all right, so I've recorded 17 songs so far. There's 3 left, presumably. This was not one of them, naturally. This is an extra one. And this is a song called The Soldier's Blade. The significance of this song, I'm going to put up a graphic so you can see, you know, just have a little bit to look at while I tell you this story. So there are dark elves, they're cave elves in this particular story. The cave elves, you know, well, there's the general right there and some of his men, of course, because the general's lost his friggin' mind. He's like trying to put evil beings inside of his own living men because he's lost his mind. But that's the general. You know, they're sort of purplish and they have long ears and white hair. And the cave elf, as it happens, our main character, Zenobia Vosk, is not only a cave elf, but she's also the daughter of the general. And she's very, very, very anti-war. And the cave elves are all about war. That's all they're about. So she and her father, they have like a big rift. And at some point, she ends up deciding to run a tavern instead and sling drinks in her own tavern because she'd rather do that than go to war and be part of the warring culture of her people. So at some point, these cave elves come into her tavern. They ask her to sing a cave elf hymn called The Soldier's Blade. And she's like, I don't sing songs and I'm not a warrior. Like, I don't go to battle and I don't sing songs. Drink your drinks, get the hell out of my bar. But ultimately, she finds herself in a situation where she finds a lot of her men succumbing to the shadow, which is this dark force, which can be a metaphor for illness. It can be a metaphor for depression. And they're becoming victims of the shadow, and they're dying. And she is inspired to sing The Soldier's Blade to them. And let's just say the song that she sings has some healing properties, apparently, because the cave elves start to get up on their feet and they are in essence healed by the song that she sings. So without further ado, this is The Soldier's Blade. It is a cave elf hymn, a cave elf hymn. And this is my very first time singing it ever in front of anybody other than Mayumi. So I am going to butcher this, and that's just going to be part of the deal. Like you're going to get a special sneak peek. Made sure my patrons knew about this stream so they could be here to get this sneak peek as well. And I'm going to do my very best to make it through the song. I may stop at times and try to remember what the lyrics are. Without further ado, Soldier's Blade. I forgot how it went. I don't know. First of all, I think this guitar's woefully out of tune. That's okay. That's okay too. That could be better. I think we found our culprit. That's better. Okay, here we go. Soldier's Blade. I guess I kind of have to tell you some things first. The cave elves from our story are from the village of Tirignon, and their enemies live over the mountains in the land of Vasikblad. Is that all you need to know? I think that's all you need to know, because you're probably just going to be wondering, what the hell did he just say? Because I didn't figure it out. All right, so now you know. Tirignon and Vasikblad are two towns. In a humble cave of Tirignon, a mother gave her son a blade. She'd melted down the family crest, and with its best, this knife was made. She bid him go to Vasikblad for her honor to avenge. A general there had done her foul, he'd strike him down, she'd have revenge. Honor and blood, family and clan, dignity and pride. Without these an elf would die. For honor we strive, in battle we thrive. Through the blood and the lives of our enemies we strive. For the bloodline of the cavern elf hails from the father's side. Oh, if you look deep inside yourself, you'll find your mother's sighs. For months the laddie soldiered on to Vasikblad from Tirignon. He swore that he would do his part. He kept the blade close to his heart. Over the ridge of Indroven, he spied the general and his men. And for to draw the general out, he made the call of dragon's shouts. Honor and blood, family and clan, dignity and pride. Without these an elf would die. For honor we thrive, for honor we strive. In battle we thrive. For the blood and the lives of our enemies we strive. Oh, the bloodline of the cavern elf hails from the father's side. Oh, when you look deep inside yourself, you'll find your mother's side. I completely left out a part. I completely left out a part. All right, let's go back. For months the lad he soldiered on to Vassigblad from Tirignan. He swore that he would do his part. He kept the blade close to his heart. Over the ridge of Hindroven, he spied the general and his men. And for to lure the general out, he made the call of dragon's shout. But when the general came to spy, there was no dragon lean to ride. Only a boy who threw his knife into his heart, he took his life. Honor and blood, family and clan, dignity and pride. Without these an elf would die. For glory we strive, in battle we thrive. Through the blood and the lives of our enemies we strive. Oh, the bloodline of the cavern elf hails from the father's side. Oh, when you look deep inside yourself, you'll find your mother's side. He looked in the general's eyes, and he cried, "They're just like mine. And though you've sinned against my kind, I see my life is just like thine. I see my life is just like thine. And as I watch you scream and writhe, I feel a piece of me will die. I feel a piece of me will die. When he returned to Tirignan, his mother bid him keep the blade. For son, you are a soldier now, and with this kill your fate is made. The man whose blood has stained your knife is the very one who gave you life. And now that you have killed this man, you are the leader of our clan. Honor and blood, family and clan, dignity and pride. Without these an elf would die. For glory we strive, in the battle we thrive. Through the blood and the lives of our enemies we ever strive. Oh, the bloodline of the cavern elf hails from the father's side. Oh, when you look deep inside yourself, you'll find your mother's size. That's it. That is The Soldier's Blade. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Vicky Yoshikawa. Will your new album, oh, I just lost your comment. Will your new album be working on, will it be on vinyl? I mean, I'm going to have to say, yeah, it's going to have to be on vinyl because nobody buys CDs anymore, as far as I can tell, or very few people. And I really love the vinyl experience that I remember from my childhood. Like when you went and you bought a record and you put it on the turntable and you listened to the whole thing like as if it was a story, and then you turned it over and you listened to the rest of the story. And I am making something that is a story. So I think vinyl is an absolute must. It's probably going to be 2 vinyl records. I just don't think it's going to come out anywhere near June 27th because vinyl takes like 6 months to make for some reason. And I'll be lucky to be done in time for a June 27th release for just digital and CD. So we'll see, but I am shooting for it. Steffi says, you're awesome. Thank you for making amazing, beautiful, haunting work my whole life. Wow, I'm old. I'm so glad you're here with us. Thank you, Steffi. So that is a taste of the Black Labyrinth. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard so far. There's so much more because there's 20 plus songs at this point. Dead Face says, hey, I saw you in Chicago a couple years ago. That was a great show. Would have gotten an autograph, but I had nothing for you to sign and I was nervous. You could have grabbed a piece of tissue paper. I'll sign anything. Everybody knows that. I will sign a flyer off a table or a napkin or anything at all. You never need to buy something. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love it when people buy stuff at the merch booth. It is ultimately how we survive as musicians, but don't ever let that get in the way of not getting an autograph if that's what you want. And I think most people will tell you I'm pretty approachable. So there's nothing to be nervous about. Just come. If I'm playing anywhere near you, come say hello. And I'm long overdue for Chicago, by the way. So I'm gonna have to drop a line to Scary Lady Sarah and say, hey, you need to have me back in Chicago because it's been too long. And I do love her nightclub, and her spinning. So that'll be a good combo to do that again. In any case, so that is everything that I want to share with you regarding the Black Labyrinth. I hope you enjoyed the new song. I promise to play it better next time, but that was the first time I ever played it. So you're going to have to cut me a little slack on that one. Matt says, have you ever looked into making karaoke versions of your songs available? I sure have. In fact, I have a karaoke playlist right here on the Lair of Voltaire. So if you look through my playlists, you will find that there is a karaoke list. And I have many more videos made than I've released. And, why am I releasing them so slowly? I don't know. Probably busy with other stuff. And also, it's bad for the algorithm. I hate to say it, but they're bad for the algorithm because very few people are interested in the karaoke video. So like whenever a video comes out and it gets like really low views, especially if I'm in the middle of like Gothic homemaking season, then the algorithm's like, oh, people don't like him. Okay, let's not share his videos with anyone. And so I've been a little bit like nervous about releasing karaoke videos for that reason. But I think what I'm planning to do, I think soon, Matt, is just release like whole albums at a time, because I think if you bombard YouTube with videos, like they stop paying attention like after the 3rd video. So if you put out like 10 videos in one day, they kind of just, they're like, I don't know what's happening over there. Forget it. So I think I have all of Ookie Spooky done as karaoke videos, and I'll probably release that sometime soon as I come up for air, I guess, because things are kind of nuts. Natasha Richardson says, my son is a Voltaire fan too. He's 8. Can you say hi to Davian? Of course, Davian. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Is it Davian? Or it could be Davian. Davian is pretty cool too. So Davian, either very cool pronunciations. Welcome aboard. I hope you're enjoying the stream. And so now that we're done talking about the Black Labyrinth, I guess we can talk about Gothic homemaking. What's happening with Gothic homemaking, you ask? Well, nothing, because I am literally spending every cent I've got on the Black Labyrinth. Literally every cent I've got. And then that's not enough. So then I turn to Patreon, of course, and all of the other places where people support my music, because that is the only way this ridiculously massive album and illustrated book project is happening. But that does bring us to a little bit of bad news. I didn't mention at the very beginning of the stream that I had some potentially tragic news about Gothic homemaking. Isn't it tragic?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm going to talk about?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then you'll be surprised too, I guess. So Mayumi and I were in Mexico City recently. I did a show there a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, Mayumi's got an apartment and it's huge. It has 1 million rooms and it's like a tenth what I pay rent in New York City for one room that's smaller than any of the ones she has, because it's Mexico City. So I got this idea. I was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if we were to like move to a place with a chimney and a backyard, like somewhere where the dog can run around instead of having to walk the dog twice a day, late at night. Our neighborhood's a little sketchy, you know. It'd be nice to just be able to like let the dog run around in the backyard, and it'd be really nice to have a chimney because there's no heating like anywhere in Mexico City. And it's cold because the elevation is higher than Denver. I don't know if you know that. Elevation's higher than Denver. So it's cold and there isn't really a culture of heating. So I'm always freezing there in the winter. So I thought it'd be nice to have a chimney. So we started looking around and we stumbled upon something amazing. And I'm going to tell you about it in a second. But first I want to say, Rebecca, spend all 200 cents of this on the Black Labyrinth. Well, you know I will. Thank you, Rebecca. You know I will. And Jared's Voices says, we had our first annual Arizona Goth Fest last week. Wow. And we would love to have you out to maybe perform in the future. I hope to maybe reach out to you about it at some point soon. Love your stuff and you are awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, absolutely. I'd be super interested. And as you probably know, I'm playing in Phoenix tomorrow. So if you're local to Phoenix, by all means, come see me. So Mayumi and I, well, not Mayumi, really me, like in the middle of the night while she was sleeping, I started looking at houses. I was like, well, I can't afford to buy a house probably, but I might be able to afford to rent a house. Jinxie says, yes, well, Mayumi has a dog. It's an Afghan and her name is Synergy. And she's really very beautiful. She's really big and really beautiful and very hairy. She looks like a Wookiee. But yeah, that's the story with the dog. And so in the middle of the night while Mayumi was sleeping, I was like, I'm going to start looking to rent a house, like an actual house, right? Like here I am in the Lair Voltaire, been here for 20 years. It's like I can touch all four walls. I can like poop and brush my teeth and cook a meal and like put my head on my pillow all without moving, like all at the same time. It's terrible. So that wouldn't it be nice to have a little house, right? So I was like, well, all right, you know, I might be able to, I can't afford that in New York City by no stretch of the imagination, but I might be able to afford it in Mexico City. So I start looking in what I think would be like where I think the houses are the nicest, right? Which is Polanco. So I'm like, okay, monthly rent, house in Polanco. And I see they're like New York prices. I'm like, okay, that's not happening. How about Condesa, which is kind of like the East Village. So I start looking at Condesa and I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. And I'm like, what about Roma? Roma's like Soho. No, that's not happening. Then I start getting like more ghetto. You know, I'm like, well, what about like Santa Maria la Rivera? You know, what about Tabacalera? I'm like looking in like shadier neighborhoods, you know, and I'm just not finding absolutely anything that is really what I'm looking for and affordable. So I get crazy and I think, what about like out in the suburbs, like where Mayumi's parents live? Just crazy. Like I wouldn't want to move, like being in New York City, I wouldn't want to move to the suburbs of New Jersey where I came from. But somehow, you know, I'm just like curious. Mexico, just outside of Mexico City, or just on the board, you know, like on the outskirts of Mexico City. Let's see what we can find. So I start looking. Ecclesia Mortis. Ecclesia Mortis. Please come to Bakersfield, California. That's where corn was formed. Really? Corn like the vegetable? Spelled wrong? Or the band? I'm guessing you mean the band. I know, honey. So I'd love to play in Bakersfield. I think I played there one time and one time only. And I don't know why. I'd love to be back. So anyway, so I make this so I'm looking in the suburbs and I'm like, okay, that was just stupid. The houses in the suburbs all look like suburban houses. You know, they look like the Brady Bunch houses, you know, like short, one level, long, not what I'm looking for. I want like Spanish colonial, you know, I want it to look like, I want to wear a white suit and smoke a cigar when people walk in the front door and say, I may not be the most interesting man in the world, but when I am extremely interesting. You know, like I want to live in a house that looks like that, like a chateau, right? Like a Baroque Spanish colonial sort of vibe. So I'm not finding anything out there. And then all of a sudden I stumble upon a castle. That's right. You heard me. A castle. And it wasn't an abandoned White Castle restaurant franchise. There's this crazy architect who I think in the 60s or 70s decided to build these crazy medieval styled condominiums is really the word they use, but it does not at all convey what this looks like. It looks like you walk into like a private gate and you're at Hogwarts. Like it's just all these castles. There's no other way to put it. Medieval castles, literally built in a medieval style, completely, not like facades, like built stone by stone castles with turrets and stained glass and Gothic arches and bridges between them. Like I saw this and I went, okay, that's clearly where I'm meant to live, right? So as it happens, there's this one freestanding structure. It doesn't look like a castle, sadly. It's like the one that doesn't look like a castle, but it does look like a medieval cottage. I mean, it absolutely looks like what I imagine like Zenobia's Spiderweb Tavern from the Black Labyrinth looking like. You know, it's medieval cottage. And it's got like a bit of a front yard, and it's got this giant brick asador in English. It's not often I have to ask you what the English word is.
Grill.
Grill? Okay. Grill. It's like a pit, like a chimney place to cook food outside. And there's a fountain, and there's like a beautiful brick patio. And there's 3 floors, and there's a master bedroom that's enormous with a giant vaulted ceiling, and there's like Gothic arches everywhere. And there's a chimney. A chimney. I could sit in a rocking chair, smoking cigars, drinking brandy by the chimney, you know. And we looked at the price, and like at first glance, it was affordable, you know. I mean, compared to New York, we would be paying basically what I pay for one tiny room, but we'd have this whole house and it'd be medieval. And I thought, you know what would be really, really cool if there was any way that this could be like the subject of a Gothic homemaking season, like Gothic homemaking medieval cottage edition. And we just kind of looked at each other like we could be living in our dream house and be doing Gothic homemaking episodes, which people seem to enjoy. And we certainly love making them. And it could be really fascinating because it could be like, for the first time ever, I'm not trying to decorate a shoebox. I'm trying to decorate like a proper medieval castle-like home. And like I literally, quite frankly, we came like right down to the signing of the papers. And then there was like a little glitch, and I had like a moment to think about it. And the whole thing went up in a puff of smoke. And I'll tell you why. Because it's a reason that I don't think anybody watching me right now can relate to, honestly. Not a single one of you is going to hear what I'm about to say and go, I can relate to that. Like, you're going to be like, really, dude? Seriously? I couldn't afford it. I just couldn't afford it. I just couldn't afford it. You know, like maybe we could have stretched and maybe we could have made it work. I would have definitely had to have left New York. Like Larry Voltaire would definitely have to have been given up, because I'd basically be paying 3 rents, and at the same time, and it would just can't, and my storage unit, and I just couldn't afford it at this time, because as I mentioned, like every cent I've got is going to making the Black Labyrinth album and book. And if I took on this other expense, And keep in mind, it's not furnished. That's kind of the whole point. I would immediately have to buy a bed and a sofa and some chairs and armoires. And before you know it, and of course, because the whole idea was to do it as a Gothic homemaking project, I'd be painting and building things. And I'd be having to fly back and forth from New York to Mexico, because I have shows almost every weekend for the next, foreseeable future. So I'd literally be like flying to Mexico and back every week. And I was just like, I can't afford it. I just can't afford it. I just can't afford it. And it was heartbreaking. I'm certain. Now, obviously, I was joking when I said nobody would be able to relate to this. That's sarcasm, because it's the most common problem in the world that we all experience. This is why we can't have nice things, because we can't afford them. I just couldn't afford it. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if it's true or not, but they told us that there was somebody who was interested in the place for 6 months only. And we kind of looked at each other like, are they just trying to light a fire under our asses so that we sign the papers quicker? But if it's true, there's an opportunity to try again in 6 months. If it's true. And it'd be interesting. I mean, we would bring you all along with us for the ride. And I think that you would be blown away, just absolutely blown away by this place. It is a dream home. It really is. The only thing, come to think of it, I just thought of this. When I think La Casa de mis Sueños, the house of my dreams, it reminds me of Gerard Way. I went to visit Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance was kind enough to do a narration for one of my animated films a million years ago. And I went to his home to pick him up. Like, we were going to the studio to record, but I flew out to LA, recorded him, and flew back the same exact day, literally. Went out there, recorded him, and came back. But that day, I went to his home. He invited me to his home. And his home had like a white, almost like adobe, sort of like a front wall, like a wall in front of the house. And it had like terracotta tiles. It was very Mexican looking, in fact. And it said, La Casa de mis Sueños. There was a mosaic that said, La Casa de mis Sueños, the house of my dreams, because the architect who built it, I guess, originally for himself, and it was the house of his dreams. And he wrote, the house of my dreams. And then you went inside, and inside it was like mostly white. I don't know. What do you call that? Like, it's not really adobe, is it? It's like clay, right? Like the walls are almost like clay, painted white. And then there was like accents, like a sort of terracotta tiles is what I'm thinking. I may be wrong. But the whole inside was wooden beams. It looked like a fantasy house out of a storybook. And it was just so beautiful. And this is what this place reminded me of. So who knows? We might get to visit again in 6 months. If not, we'd lost it. And it's just sometimes that is how life is. You wish you could afford something that you want and you just can't. And sometimes you just have to accept it. And sometimes amazing things slip through your fingers. Well, hopefully we'll cross our fingers and hope that in 6 months that somebody really did rent it for 6 months, and in 6 months they vacate, and then we can paint it black. That was the other thing too, by the way. When I spoke to the realtor, I said, I have this show on YouTube called Gothic Homemaking where I lied. I was like, I redo homes. What I really meant was I dick around in my apartment, for painting stuff and building stuff. But I was saying, basically, it's like a decorating show, home decor show. And it would be so cool if I could do something with this place. So let me just ask you if it's possible, like if I want to make an improvement, like if I wanted to completely redo the bathroom, like I did here, for free, no charge to my landlord. I was like, if I want to just redo the bathroom, if I got permission from the owner, would you allow me to do that? And she called him, and he goes, oh, no, you tell Voltaire that as long as he doesn't tear down a wall, he can literally do whatever he wants. We just looked at each other like, what? It's like, yeah, he can paint any color he wants. He can put up anything he wants. He can just change, cosmetically speaking, he can change the entire place. I said, what about refinishing all of the wood so that it's red? And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we actually had carte blanche to do whatever we wanted to in our little castle, which is now no no longer our little castle. Needed a sad chord for that one. We'll try again in 6 months. And by then, with any luck, the Black Labyrinth will be out, and I won't be spending every cent I've got on the Black Labyrinth. We'll try again. Josh Calderon says, just wanted to say hi, Voltaire. Thank you for everything. When's the next time you're coming to Vegas? Well, we were there in August, right? Did a show there in August. So my guess would be August. I usually try to play everywhere once a year as soon as I can. So if I play somewhere in January, I try to play there the next January. So that's kind of how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us quite nearly to the end of this stream.
One more.
Yeah.
There are a lot of birthdays today.
There are?
Casper Dixon.
Yeah.
It's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Casper Dixon.
And tomorrow is Estella.
Estella?
She turns 6.
Oh my gosh. 6. I remember when I was 6.
Tomorrow.
I don't remember when I was 36. I don't remember when I was 46.
And there was another.
Happy birthday, everybody who's having a birthday coming up. There are going to be a lot of people from the Arizona Goth Society at your show tomorrow. If you could give a shout out to the group, that would be awesome. If I wasn't working, I would be there. I'll try, Jared, but I am really senile. If somebody reminds me at the show, there is a very good chance that it's going to happen because I can write it on my set list. But between now and then, I have to pack all my merch, make sure I don't forget my costume like I've sometimes have done, make sure we get to the airport on time. You know, there's like a million things to try to remember. And I know myself well enough to know that I'm a little bit on the forgetful side. But if you have somebody from your group, remind me at the show. It can very, very well happen. Deadface says, I was wondering if you've seen Has Been Hotel. It's a cartoon pilot on YouTube. I think you'd be right up their alley. Yeah, I have seen it. I think it's pretty cool. I think I should be singing songs on that show. I've wrote to the creator, but she never wrote back. I was like, hi. Did songs for Billy and Mandy on Cartoon Network, and I'd love to do a song for your show. She never wrote back, but I can't blame her because I sent her a direct message on Instagram. I think she has her Instagram set to not see any messages because I have it set the same way because I do this and I can barely keep up with the comments. And then I get 500 emails every day that I try to answer. And then there's comments on every other platform. And so I try to minimize the amount of I try to funnel things, right? So like I don't have to look 17 different places to make sure I've answered everybody's question. So it's best if like I'm just doing it like this or in email. So I have my, DMs shut off on Instagram, and I guess she does too, and I don't think she ever saw it. But if any of y'all know her personally, tell her that I like her show, I like the cut of her jib, and I'd like to sing or voice a character on her show. There it is. Put it out.
2 more birthdays.
2 more birthdays?
Yes.
Who's next? Who's next?
Luke Christ.
Luke.
It's going to be next week.
Okay.
And
How old? Do you know how old these people are going to be?
Luke, I don't know how old. Nope. And Rebecca had a birthday a few days ago.
Okay. Well, happy belated birthday, Rebecca, and happy future birthday, Luke. I am not your father. I just thought you should know. That would be the worst birthday present ever. I found out Voltaire was my father for my birthday. Bummer. Jessica Herrera, thank you for the super sticker. Greatly appreciated. I will be applying that money directly to Black Labyrinth. What would you like me to spend it on? Bassoon. Hammer Dulcimer. So much to do. There's still so much to do. And I've got 2 more of David Bowie's longtime collaborators on board. I'm very excited to announce them, but I'm not going to do it here because I always tell my patrons on Patreon first when really big stuff like that happens. So let me do that announcement, and then probably in the next month, I'll be back here to tell you what other David Bowie collaborators are playing on the Black Labyrinth. The list is starting to get kind of lengthy. It's really cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. The people who helped my hero define his sound are helping me define this record. Love that. Deadface says, oh, wow, I didn't know you knew Gerard. Yeah, Gerard and I go way back. He was a student at SVA while I was teaching at SVA, I think. And then he worked, and then ironically, he ended up working at the animation company that I directed for a bunch of years. Like our paths have crossed a bunch of times. And then he, like I said, then he kindly narrated a film for me. And I got a really cool Gerard Way story about how I snuck him and all of My Chemical Romance into a convention that was completely sold out. But that's a story for another day. Some people have made castle-style stone bungalows and tiny houses. And if you build a steel frame tiny house before furnishing it, comes out to about $2 per square foot, says V. Stormfeltovich. Thank you for that tip. I can't afford land, so I'm definitely not building a house, unless it's in Indonesia, maybe. I might be able to afford a house. I keep telling myself these things. I don't even know if it's true. When we were in Bali, I was like, look at that house. We should just build a house, like an Indonesian style house in Bali. How much could it cost? How much could it cost? Apparently a lot. Apparently a lot. Like, it doesn't matter that the exchange rate is like very much in the favor of, you know, the US dollar. You know, I don't know if you know this. When you go to Bali, when you go to Indonesia, well, is Bali rupiah? Well, it's probably true about all Indonesia, but certainly I've had this experience in Bali where, like, I show up with $500 and I go to like the money changer and I change it and it turns into 9 million rupiah. You become a millionaire instantly when you arrive in Bali. So, feeling that power, I thought I could buy a house here, not in New York, but I could buy a house here. I still don't think it's true. I was like, how much did this house cost? They were like $150,000 to build. And I was like, someday when I have 150,000 fans and each one of them sends me $1, I'm buying that house. I'm building that house. I had this idea, also a Gothic homemaking idea, to build a cottage in Bali, Indonesia that was bat themed. It's going to be called Chateau Kalong. Kalong is the name for this. For the fruit bat. You know what? Maybe that's going to be let's get this tacky banner out of here. And then I'm going to hold this pillow, right? I'm such a professional. This is how I'm going to make the thumbnail. I'm going to hit screenshot. Okay. Screenshot. I'm open up a screenshot. And then I'm going to make this window small, like so. Okay. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to make a really cheesy pose like this. Oh, I kind of need this. Damn, I guess I can't. I need this hand to... No, you know what I should do? If I'm going to pimp something, it should be something new. These are from my Society 6 store. You've probably seen these a million times. How about I show you this instead? This is the Forest of Shadows candle. Get the glare right. And here we go. I'm going to move over a little. Maybe move a little this way. That way. There we go. And where's the capture button? How'd I do? Oh, that's so goofy and stupid. I got to do it again. That's so goofy and stupid. All right. Let me get this angle right. Okay. No. Yes. Sort of. That's kind of cool. All right. I'm going to try to look less stupid this time. Don't laugh at me. There you go. I'll try to look less amused. How's that? Let's take a look. Ow! Whatever. It's a thumbnail. Who cares? No one watches these streams anyway. All right. We're back. Let me close this screenshot and go back to the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, there's one last thing I want to tell you, and that is merch is always kind of happening around here, right? So don't forget that I presently have the Lair of Voltaire for Dark Side Royalty scented candles. There we go. In my web store, there's 4 scents. Valerian, which basically just smells like me. Piratey goodness. Return of the White Unicorns, which smells like an enchanted forest. Goblin Those are loud sirens. Goblin King, which is gorgeous. It's orange and it smells like pumpkin spice, Halloween spices. Really delicious. And the black one, Forest of Shadows, which smells like a smoldering forest. And then, of course, this is the Forest of Shadows base that you can purchase. And if you get all 4 candles, I think you get the base for free. And that is at my web store. There is a link in the video description below. Of course, in my web store, we also have my mask, antibacterial Gothic mask and glove sets. It's a bummer that we're still in the middle of this nonsense where, you know, you want to protect yourself and you don't want to wear masks. But as I always say, if you got to suffer, might as well look good doing it. So I've designed these masks so that if you've got some style and you want to go out in public and still, you know, sort of exhibit some kind of style, that might be a way to express yourself, your darkness. It is, I will tell you this, it's like not wearing a mask at all because they are so comfortable. I hear this again and again and again. People write to me all the time and they're like, dude, your masks are so, like the material's so soft that it's super comfortable. And most of them, all but one design comes with a nose wire. So if you wear glasses and you don't want it to steam up, that might help you out. And they come with matching gloves, which I don't have one to show you right now, but they come with matching gloves. Those are also in the web store, and there's a bunch of other stuff. Just go look. But I will tell you what you're not going to find today, but you are going to find it soon. And that is the Black Labyrinth poster. Can I get a shot of this that isn't super glarific? Oh, there we go. Kind of, sort of. It's still very glary, but you kind of get the picture. It is printed on cardstock. They are very, very sturdy. The artwork is by 3 of the artists of the Black Labyrinth fantasy book: Abigail Larson, Erin Horrors, and Drea D. Art. And I've usually only make these available at shows. I sign them with a gold marker, but I have just sent a small amount of them to my web store. I have signed every single one of them like I do at shows with a gold marker, and I write, "It's only forever," and then I sign my name. And they're $13, I think. They're not on the web store yet, but I'm going to endeavor to have them up by the end of the weekend. So if you're interested in picking up the very first piece of Black Labyrinth paraphernalia, that's where to go. And of course, I'm going to be using every cent that I make from those to make the album. So it is a funding vehicle above and beyond everything else. Jennifer says, "You'll get the house of your dreams soon, Voltaire. You deserve it." That is very, very kind, Jennifer. I am working tirelessly. I wonder and hope and worry about what happens when Black Labyrinth comes out, because like I have such hopes for it, but anytime I've ever had high hopes for my albums, it's always just been like, whap, whap. Like you're never getting out of the Gothic ghetto, like it's never going to be listened to by more than like this small number of people. But in recent history, I've been proven wrong. And like my Spotify numbers have been going up, and I never thought I'd see the day when I'd hit like 100,000, views on Spotify in a month. And so I'm like very humbled by that, and it gives me hope. And I can only hope that that the Black Labyrinth is successful, like more successful than anything I've ever done, because it's more complicated and more grand than anything I've ever done. So that's my hope for it. And I just hope that it's not a dud, because that would be so tragic. Yenekal says, "You are aging like a fine wine. I'm happy to see how passionate you still are about your music. Your music gets me through my, ophthalmology residency at St. Vincent's. You deserve a chimney," says Mauricio. Thank you, Mauricio. I was so scared for you, because when you said, that the medical term that popped up, I was like, oh no, this person's really sick and that really sucks. I was like, oh no, you're just studying medicine. that's really hard, but I'm glad you're well. And good luck. That is quite a career. When you become a super fit, rich doctor, you could maybe just buy me that house. Nobody? Okay, nobody. I thought I would get more laughs for that one. Janet says, it'll be a sad day when you no longer live in New York City. But then I don't live in New York anymore anyway. Oh, well. This town beats you up. So now you've seen some new merch. You know that at the Society 6 store, I've got all sorts of really cool, like spooky home decor. You know that at my web store, I've got some new things coming. The cemetery soap is allegedly like nearly here. So I have cemetery soap that's coming like within the month. And then, of course, there's the skeletal lipsticks. They're around somewhere, but I don't know where they are, so I can't show you, but I'll show you next month. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now 12:30. It's an hour and a half. I try to keep these things down to an hour, but I talk so damn much that now I am going to focus exclusively. I guess we've finally like really reached the Q&A part. I'm going to focus exclusively on answering some of your questions. So if you have some pressing, burning questions, fire away. No, it's okay. Crimson says, and sometimes the universe knows better and puts you someplace for better, and that is the best thing that can happen to you. It might not be what you wanted, but it is what you needed. Could be, Crimson Serenity, could be. I was telling Mayumi the other day, because I was watching some documentaries about the Sex Pistols, and I found it so depressing, so sad for a lot of reasons. And I looked at Mayumi and I said, the greatest thing that ever happened to me was me not becoming famous at 17 or 18 or 19. Because believe me when I say I did write songs back then and they sucked and were about really stupid stuff. I mean, I don't know, maybe people listen to my songs today and they go, that sucks and it's about stupid stuff. But these were really bad. And I think, man, if I had had notoriety and been given the money to put out records when I was the age that the Sex Pistols were, I would not have done as well. I would have said a whole bunch of really dumb crap and done a whole bunch of really dumb crap. And so getting back to your point, sometimes the universe knows better, because I certainly wanted to be, like a rock star when I was 17. The universe was like, you know what, maybe that's what you want, but it's not going to be good for you. So I'm so glad that nobody knew who the hell I was until I turned 30. Not that that helped any. I was still pretty immature at 30. Nice place. Looks sweet, bro. Oh yeah, she probably has a business email, probably referring to the creator of Has Been Hotel. Oh, I'm really far behind on these comments. Holland. Thank you, Holland. Oh, Holland, is it? Oh, Holana Heisley. What a beautiful name. Thank you for the super sticker. Castlevania Skeletor. That's a great screen name. Castlevania Skeletor. It's so nice to see you happy, says Amy. Thank you, Amy. Well, thanks. Thank Mayumi. I'm a miserable piece of crap by myself. It is true. I'm a miserable piece of crap by myself. Casper is 22 today. We found out.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Casper.
And look, it's going to be 25.
I can choose one concert to go to in March, and I can't decide between him and the Birthday Massacre. Birthday Massacre, good. I like them. And recorded a duet with Chibi that's on Raised by Bats. I want to wake up from this horrible dream. And she sings on that too. And Crimson says, so sorry that you won't be playing at the Dark Side of the Con this April 1st to the 3rd. I was so excited last year when we all thought it was happening and you were going to be there. Yeah. And then it got canceled, and then my UK tour got moved, and unfortunately just scheduling issues. Hopefully someday it'll happen, but sadly not this time. Getty says bassoon would be amazing. Bassoon, I never knew how much I liked the bassoon until I recorded bassoon. It's like, wow, this is amazing. Might try to get some oboe on the record too. We'll see. I love Birthday Massacre as well. My half brother is the 15th. I thinking we're talking about birthdays there. I'm gonna be 25 on February 19th. Oh, that's Luke. Okay, boy, I'm way behind. I'm like last time my Yumi interjected with information behind. So like way behind.
Yeah.
Sarah Price, the Wiccan Midnight Crafter says, "Oh my God, I love the Labyrinth." Yep, me too. I hope you'll like Black Labyrinth, and thank you very much for the generous donation. Sunny Valentine, Bali is decimated by tourism and not a good place to buy property because it prices out the locals, but you have my blessing to buy a house in Sumatra where my family's from. Wow, I didn't know you were from Sumatra. I've been to Sumatra and I went hunting for orangutans in Sumatra. By hunting, I mean with a camera, of course. I don't mean with a gun. And found them. It was pretty exciting. Just out there in the jungle for hours and hours and hours and found a family of orangutans. And I got to tell you, did not know that the like fully grown male orangutan would be so damn frightening. But I was terrified. But Bali, the thing about Bali, you know, I can tell you, I mean, you would know better than I do because you're from Indonesia, your family's from Indonesia. But what I did notice in Bali is that they make it very, very difficult for Westerners to live there. You can go there, you can buy property there, but it's nearly impossible to live there because you just can't get a permanent visa. So you have to leave every 30 days. You literally have to get on a plane. Like I know Westerners who live in Bali and they just get on a plane every 30 days, go to Singapore, have lunch at the airport, and come back. Or you can get an extended visa for 60 days, and if you're really lucky, 90 days. But they make it really kind of impossible for Westerners to live there, and they have a very good reason, because the exchange rate is so favorable to Europeans, English, Brits, and Americans that there would be no Bali. There would be no Bali at all if people could just move there. The culture would vanish. And I'm telling you, the culture is super, super strong. I've been all over Bali. Every street corner has a banjar. And millions of days out of the year, there is a holy festival. And everybody participates. Some of the young people are getting kind of, they're being drawn away from the local like customs and the local industries like wood carving and painting and batik making and things like that, because they're finding it more interesting to work in hotels, for instance. But Balinese culture is super, super strong. And while I find it extremely inconvenient that I can't just buy a house and move there, I'm grateful for it because there just would be no Balinese culture if it weren't for that rule. But anyway, thank you for contributing that. And I do find Balinese issues very, very interesting to me. My gosh, I am so far behind. I'm also not seeing a lot of questions. I'm mostly, well, Creepshow says, where can I buy that? But I don't know which item you're referring to anymore.
The candles.
Oh, the candles? That would be on my website. And there should be a link in the video description. I'm trying to get through some of these one word comments to get to like real questions. New York City, folks. Bet we wouldn't hear that in our little castle. We'd just be hearing the peasants storming the castle. Get the Dracula, get the Dracula. They would definitely think I was a Dracula. And I love to use the word Dracula as a pronoun. He's a Dracula. What if you had a castle in the front and a spooky hostel in the back and paid for it that way? Bet the Owl family would be out for the ribbon cutting with the baby. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's an idea. Got to find a castle with spare rooms, though. Love you both so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Castlevania Skeletor. I just like seeing his name come up. I just like seeing that name come up. Castlevania Skeletor. Oh, Sweet Symphony of New York City, says Chris Gordon. Yep, the sirens. They just never, ever end. Return of the Wet Unicorns. I don't know what that is. Not to sound creepy, but they're coming to get you. Yeah, eventually. Give it time. Give it time. Whoop, whoop. It's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. It's the sound of the bees. I don't even know why I know that song. Pumpkin spice is my favorite candle scent. I eat all that type of stuff up, says Castlevania. Skeletor. Reminds me of Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab perfumes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. They have so many. They have so many. Could never compete with that. I'm lucky to have 4 candles with 4 scents. We are working on 4 more scents. I forgot what they're called already. One of them is based on the King of Thieves. I know that. So one of them is probably called King of Thieves. Excuse me. His name in the story is Jellicoe Jack. And he's like a red satyr. He's like a red devil person. Or a tiefling, as D&D players would call him. And one candle, and it's very piratey. That one's very piratey also. Like a lot of patchouli and stuff like that in it. And then there's Enchanted... What's it called? Enchanted. Dark Enchantment. Wicked Enchantment. Wicked Enchantment. And that's a green candle. And I think it smells like Palo Santo and Citronella. And then there's 2 others, and I can't remember off the top of my head what they were. Oh, one of them would be Zenobia. And that one's probably like a light purple. And I forgot what it smells like. And what was the other one? Do you remember? Oh, Took Pilfer Snatch. Yeah. Goblin Thief. One is, oh, it smells so good. It smells like what I imagine Took the Goblin Thief to smell like, which is like leather and wood, because he's always whittling, and amber, and like sort of, incensey sort of smells. It's really good. Anyway, hopefully those will come out soon. Aaron Hars is my favorite. I was so excited when you said they were involved. Yeah. Aaron is the best. I love that last drawing, that Kill the Beast. And that Kill the Beast, the song and the drawing are inspired by a Balinese festival that I attended. I haven't gotten to that part. Oh, look at that. Sarah Price, The Wiccan Midnight. With will the Black Labyrinth book be on Audible? Wow. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. That's actually a great idea, because it's a hell of a lot easier to ship an audiobook than it is to ship a real book. So I have to give that some thought. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. Getty says, will you make glove sets for long fingers? The fabric is super soft. My hands already tore a hole in them because I have Jack Skellington hands. I'm very sorry to say that the gloves are one size fits most. It is the only economical way to make these. They don't sell super great. Like not a lot of people buy masks, I guess, or I don't know. There's, I'm not going to get into the whole vaccine thing, but obviously the fact that a vaccine was created, then like people are like, oh, I don't need masks anymore. So like the mask kind of stopped selling. And then like Omicron came, people were like, oh, it's not over. And we might've gotten a little bump, but I don't know how many people are aware that I'm selling these masks. I think they're cool as hell. But if they came in sizes, I'd have boxes of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of masks that would never, ever sell. So unfortunately, for economical reasons, they have to be one size fits most. I've listened to your music for years. I wish nothing but the best for you and this new album to be a hit, says Monster Magic. Thank you, Monster Magic. I greatly appreciate that. I'm in love with the purple mask and glove set. Gonna buy it soon as I get my next paycheck, says Morticia Moonflower. You will not be displeased. The purple one, the Bats and Beasts, the purple print, is the most popular. I cannot keep those in stock at shows. So whenever I do a show, I bring like, I don't know, maybe like 6 of each mask type, and the purple ones all sell out. And then after the purple ones, people buy the gray ones. And then after the gray ones, the other ones kind of like, sell 1 or 2. You're looking good, my man, says Creepshow82. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Make cheap Goblin Core stickers to go with the album. You'll make more money on the stickers if they go viral on TikTok, and then the album might go viral with the Goblin Core kids once they find the stickers. Okay, Storm Feltwitch, you are exposing me to something I've never even heard of because I don't know what Goblin Core is. And when you say stickers, I don't know if you mean like actual stickers or like digital stickers.
Maybe like the WhatsApp stickers.
I don't know what that is.
Like the ones I sent you.
Oh, yeah. No, but I think they're talking about actual vinyl stickers. But yeah, stickers would be a good idea. I just do not know what Goblin Core is. So that's my homework assignment. So thank you for that, because I have a feeling that's going to be useful to know. Jack Skellington hands. Back in 2020, while doing emergency relief, I often had your stuff playing. I remember an 8-year-old wanting me to have Beast of Pirates Bay on repeat. I love stories like that. Thank you for sharing that, No Name. Voltaire, I've been listening to you since I was a baby bat being raised by big bats. Such an honor to see you live, and you inspire me as a musician. Thank you, Billo. Thank you for coming to the live feed, and hopefully I'll see you at a live show sometime. That will be really, really face-to-face. I would buy you a house, says Rainbow Bones. I'm just going to have to keep trying to make good music long enough that somebody who's a fan becomes super rich and does buy me a house when I'm 80. That's my retirement plan. I ain't got nothing better than that. I ain't got nothing but that's the best plan I can come up with. Isn't that sad? That's your fate. Unless you dump me. That's your fate. My exit strategy, like my retirement plan, is win the lottery, or just like to have brought so much happiness to people for so many decades that some, like, you know, like the next Bill Gates or, you know, Steve Jobs grew up listening to my music, and he's like, oh man, Voltaire, he's so sad. He's like 80 years old. He still lives in the lair of Voltaire. I'm gonna buy him a house. And that's my retirement strategy. It is so lame. Oh, and Luke's gonna buy me a house too. See, we've planted a seed here, honey. We've planted a seed.
That's good.
I saw a house today in Kentucky. Came up on my Instagram feed. It was a gorgeous, 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 gorgeous old Victorian house. You couldn't see the neighborhood. You have no idea what the neighborhood looks like. So who knows? Maybe it's like, because there's a house that I saw in Shreveport, Louisiana. I was like, I would buy that house in a heartbeat, like this giant Gothic mansion. But it was kind of like in a part of town that was like economically depressed. Like there's not a lot of infrastructure, you know, like, you know, you wouldn't be going out to like a different restaurant every night. That's for damn sure. Like stuff like that. Quality of life may not be so hot, but the house itself was great. I saw this house in Kentucky. I was like, all right, might have to think about living in Kentucky. Did you know the guy, Lilith says, did you know the guy who was the baby in Labyrinth is now a special effects monster creature creator? Yes, I think I did see a documentary about that. I did. What is his name? Well, it would be Froud, because he was the child of the Frouds who designed all the creatures. How was the name of the baby in Labyrinth?
I don't know.
They had this. All right.
Baby, and the baby say.
What? You just sounded like a goblin.
Because that's the song, and the baby say.
Well, that is, and that was David Bowie, by the way, making the baby noises. That's so weird. Okay, so Arisso Kit says, since you're an elder goth, what do you think are the biggest flaws of the goth alternative community, and how can those flaws be improved? I hate to chime in on like the goth community because it's so diverse and it means so many different things to so many different people that it's not like it was in the 80s where like you could have a spokesperson. You know, like it doesn't work like that anymore. I just think, like in any community, there should be less negativity, which I just think should just be obvious. You know, like all of this gatekeeping crap, like you're not goth enough, you're doing it wrong. You can't be goth if you laugh. You can't be goth if you smile. You can't be goth if you listen to this, or if you don't listen to this, or you do listen to that, you know, or you listen to the wrong kind of music, you're wearing the wrong kind of clothes. But just, that's all rubbish. I just think that's all rubbish. Like, I mean, for God's sake, it's just a musical and style subculture. It's not like a damn religion. And even religion shouldn't be taken that seriously, probably. So it's like whatever brings you joy, brings you joy. And however it brings you joy, as long as you don't hurt anybody, should be A-okay with everyone. So maybe you have a death hawk. Maybe you don't have a death hawk. Maybe you shaved your head. Maybe you have really normal looking hair. Who cares? Maybe you wear all black. Maybe you wear a lot of colors. Maybe you listen to these kinds of bands or those kinds of bands. Who cares? Who cares? Goth is a thing. Goth is like candy. It is a thing that is to be enjoyed however you wish to enjoy it. And you should be able to enjoy as much of it as you want or as little of it as you like. Nobody should need to pass a test. Nobody should need to show a license. And nobody should need to have someone else's approval to be able to enjoy whatever it is you find enjoyable about the goth scene, whether it's the music, whether it's the fashion, whether it's the makeup, whether it's the movies, the books, you know, whatever it is, vampires, werewolves, whatever it is. Just enjoy yourself and don't worry about anybody else. And don't tell anybody that they're doing it wrong. Just let people have some fun, for crying out loud. I hope that wasn't too harsh of an answer, but that's kind of how I feel. I get a little set off sometimes, you know, the whole concept of people policing, you know, like jihadists police Islam. The great majority of Muslims don't feel that way, but you have like people making everybody look bad by acting like jerks. There's no need to police anything, you know, just live and let live. It's an easy way to put it. Jennifer says, okay, very serious question. Boxers or briefs? Do you know what that question means, honey?
Yes.
Yeah? Which is it?
Which ones do you use?
Yeah.
Brief?
I use standard Cuban issue banana hammock. It's not true.
Tanga?
Tanga.
How do you say it?
I don't know. A G-string? Thong. 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 That's not even a real chord. Dong, 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 dong. This is the new thong song. Yeah.
And everybody said that the baby's name is Toby.
Yes, Toby Froud, of course. Thank you, people of the interwebs. Thank you, Toby Froud. Yeah, no, I what I wear under my pants will be a mystery that only Mayumi can tell you. Rithian Black. Evening, Voltaire. I was wondering, what did you think is the most Gothic item in your lair? For me, it is a cheap $1. I think that's a $1 sign. I don't know where my glasses are. There they are. Sometimes I need my glasses to read this small type. Hi, how you doing? Decor. This crow reminds me one doesn't need expensive stuff to be considered goth. That is 1,000% true. 1,000% true. I don't know what's my favorite item in here. Well, no, I guess I do. It's like
Orville.
that. No, I hate that guy. I hate Orville. It's that metal skeleton I got at Pottery Barn. I love that thing. I think that's still my favorite thing. Discord server? Nope. I don't have Discord. No name, sorry. What's the best advice for an aspiring goth musician? Keep at it. Make music. You have to be making music. Okay, I got something better than you have to be making music. Because no, really, because people are like, I'm a writer. It's like, what have you written? Well, nothing yet, but I'm going to write something. I'm a musician. All right, what have you written? Well, nothing yet, but I'm going to. So you have to, like I said last month, you have to be doing the thing, whatever the thing is. You have to be doing the thing. But in your case, specifically, I would say play live. Play live. You will learn so much about what you're good at and how to get better at the things you're not particularly good at by playing live. So, Billo, that is my advice to you. Black patent lipstick. Have you seen the Sweeney Todd movie? And if so, what's your opinion of it? I love it. I mean, I never saw the musical, so I can't be one of those purists who like, it's not as good as the musical. It's not as good as the novel. I don't know, because I've never seen the musical, but I love that movie. I think that movie's great. Refillable black lipstick is a great idea. It is refillable. It is. Why is Shrek so amazing? I don't know. I've actually never saw Shrek. I've like literally never seen Shrek. Horace says, will you be doing another New York City show next January? Well, if I just did a New York City show this January, then it's very possible. Although because I live here, there is the potential for there to be a show sooner, like maybe in the summer. Hey, Volty, when did you start using your full name? I remember when it was a top secret, says Janet. Basically, when another band came out called Voltaire, which was really irritating, like, do bands not Google their name before releasing an album? It was like this instrumental hip hop. It was, in my opinion, awful. And we have the same name. And it would be like if I started releasing albums as Black Sabbath. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I felt sorry for him because, like, the reviews just, because a lot of confusion was caused and people don't like confusion. So, like, the reviews on iTunes for this guy's records were just like, this is bullshit. This isn't Voltaire, blah, 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 blah. You know? And they just kept putting out albums. I guess the guy never bothered to look at the reviews because, like, all the reviews were just really, really, people were not particularly nice to this guy. And he just kept putting out albums. And then a German indie band put out an album as Voltaire. And but at this point, there's like 3 other bands called Voltaire. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to distinguish myself by using more of my name. So Aurelio Voltaire. I don't usually use the Hernandez except for official stuff. So Aurelio Voltaire. And as soon as some bands come out called Aurelio Voltaire, I guess I'll be Aurelio Voltaire Hernandez. Brenda says, oh, did you get any, do you get any money every time someone uses your music for Facebook or Instagram stories or TikTok? I don't think I'm set up to collect. No, I don't think I'm set up to collect money that way. So I would guess no, Brenda. And thank you for the donation. Are you coming to Memphis anytime soon? It says okay something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay something. I'd love to. I think I played in Memphis once. I'm not even 100% sure. I'd love for Memphis to be a regular stop. Let's make it happen. Bella says, will you ever come to Western Canada or somewhere close? You know, the crazy thing, Bella, is that I used to play in Vancouver every single year. And I was always competing against like Cyber Goth Night for some reason. Like I would play in Vancouver and a handful of people would come out and like I'd stay an extra day and like the local goth night was like just like a DJ and people dressed up in vinyl and there'd be 500 people there. And they just, you know, the scene there just didn't seem to care for music like mine. Like acoustic music would be my way to put it. I just don't think I had a lot of fans in Vancouver. And I played Saskatoon and Toronto a whole lot. And Canada just kind of slowly sort of fell off the map. I'd love to bring it back. What can we do? Yeah, says Deadface. Yeah, Sex Pistols were good. I just think it's really tragic that they were basically children who experienced a huge amount of fame at an age where it's very difficult to deal with that kind of attention. That's it. And I'm just glad I didn't get famous when I was 17 because I would have made an idiot of myself for sure. Think you'll ever shoot a video on how you groom your beard? says Zachary Hernandez. It's so cool looking. Thanks. I don't know. It doesn't really take much. I could, I guess. I mean, wouldn't. I don't spend a lot of time on this. Literally all I do is dye the parts that aren't white. Like the parts that are white, they're just white. I just dye the rest. But yeah, I don't spend a lot of time. I do spend more time on my hair. That might be, you might be surprised about my hair regimen. That one is a little bit, that one requires a little bit more trickery to make it look thick because my hair's super fine, super thin. It's like brown smoke, as they say on the Mighty Boosh. Think the Cheech-on episodes will ever make it to YouTube? They can't play on your official website. Yeah, I've completely taken them off the official website at this point because they're Flash and Flash no longer works. But they do exist in like a movie form. They have to be ripped off of a disc. And I do plan to bring all of that back after Black Labyrinth when I finish the Cheech-on novel and Cheech-on makes her big comeback. But that may not be for quite a while. Steffi, is it better to support via Patreon or smaller amounts? In smaller amounts, or just send you more money at once whenever I randomly have extra? I keep having to sign up and cancel based on my current luck. Yeah, I totally get that. I don't think it matters how you do it. And I'm certainly not fussy about it. I'm just as grateful for somebody who sends $1 through PayPal than somebody who signs up to send a larger amount monthly. It doesn't matter. You got to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that most people do not contribute at all. Maybe they can't, maybe they don't have the funds. Maybe they're like poor college students. There's a million reasons. And music can be found for free everywhere now. So as long as you manage to get that iPhone and as long as you manage to be paying that bill every month, all the content in the world is pretty much free at this point. I mean, certainly when it comes to music, Spotify, you can hear stuff on YouTube, Spotify, all over the place, Pandora for free. So the people who say, I want to contribute to this art that I feel is important to my life, that's huge. That's like, I'm not exaggerating, 1% of the listening audience. That's 1% of the listening audience. And that's huge to me, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you for asking. I'm really, really touched that you're concerned about those issues. I'll tell you right now, doesn't matter. If you send $1 once a year, I will be just as grateful as if you send $1,000 all at once. It's the act of contributing is really what it's all about. Should you do course setting every day? All right. I don't think that question's for me. Love Venom, Black Rainbow. Hi, love your music and talent and style. I've been listening to Graveyard Picnic a lot recently. It calms me when I'm stressed. My boyfriend even played me the night for Valentine's Day and was touched by it. Have fun. Stay strong. Namaste. Thank you, Love Venom. Thank you very much. Very, very kind of you and very generous. Really appreciate that. And, yeah, Valentine's Day, I have a bad reputation with Valentine's Day. People usually like, I know this guy Voltaire's probably got some anti-Valentine's Day songs for me. And I find that I don't write those as often as I used to. I used to be a very bitter young man when I was really young, back in my 40s. I wrote, like Future Ex-Girlfriend and there's a See You in Hell. There's a handful of songs that are really great for an anti-Valentine's Day. But these days, I only write love songs. Right, honey?
Yes.
It's true, though. It's totally true. Oh, my God. It's 1 a.m. Honey, we have a plane to catch. All right, folks. We're going to wind this down because Mayumi and I have to wrap all these lights, wrap up all of our gear, pack the merch, and literally fly to Phoenix, Arizona, now-ish. The flight is in the wee hours
Amor,
of this night. Sí.
alguien preguntó
Sí.
que va a ir mañana el show, que se acepta tarjetas y efectivo.
Absolutamente.
Or in English.
Oh, sí, claro que sí. Yo acepto tarjetas y efectivo.
No, you have to
Sí.
say it in English. It wasn't.
I know, honey. I know. I'm joking. Somebody apparently asked, they're coming to the show tomorrow. They want to know if we accept credit cards or cash at the merch booth. We accept shells. We accept seashells. We accept trinkets and beads from the locals. Honestly, yeah.
Feathers?
Not feathers.
Yeah.
No, feathers are okay too, I guess. Yes, we accept everything. Cash and cards. I will make sure. Can you make sure I bring my square?
Yeah.
My square reader? So yes, we will be accepting cash and cards. Madison Rousseau says, I may have asked this before, but have you heard of the artist Lavender Corpses? I'm friends with her on DeviantArt, and she's working on her Gothic horror novels. I do not know her. I have never heard of her, but you know what I'm going to do right now? Well, I guess I can't do it. Damn it. Oh, no, I don't want to hide your comment. No. Weird. Okay. Well, we'll just have to, you know what? I'll write it down. Lavender Corpses. I will check it out. I am not familiar with this artist, but I'd like to be. I am a miserable piece of crap, Natasha Richardson. I am a miserable piece of crap on myself. I get very depressed and very lonely, and just I get dark fast. It sucks. He's moaning in the background. I love Raised by Bats. Thank you, Casper. And are we winding down here? We winded down. How did you come up with your band's name? It's my name, Aurelio Voltaire. If you're asking me, Creepshow is asking me the question. How'd you come up with your band's name? Yeah, that's just my name. Although it wasn't supposed to be that originally. I don't know if you know this. If you look here on YouTube, you'll find my demos. And it says Cave Canem or Kawe Canem, which is Latin for beware of the dog. That was going to be the name of my band. Hi, Tarvi. But I somehow ended up going up with Voltaire. I don't know why. Just did. Oboe Pride. People digging the oboe. Do you live in Mexico? We live in Mexico half the time. Mayumi's apartment's in Mexico. My apartment's in New York. And so we're half the time with her at her place and half the time at my place. It's a lovely arrangement because you get a change of scenery and a change of lifestyle, don't you think? It's nice. It's nice to be bi-national. Bi-national? We're not bi-coastal. We're bi-national. Sean Bergstrom says, he will see you tomorrow in Phoenix. Do you take, that was the one. Do you take cards? I do take cash and cards.
And feathers.
And I don't know about feathers, honey. Let's not encourage people to bring stuff to the show in exchange for merchandise that we then have to bring back to this overcrowded lair. That's like the world's worst idea. Okay, I heard Space Oddity and Safe in Your Love, and I see why it's similar to Space Oddity, says the Blood Phoenix. Yeah, it's actually, I did not do this on purpose, but... Do you remember what I did in Mexico City when I sang this song? This is what I did. Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Yeah, it was not intentional, but I don't even know what this chord is. That is not a joke. I'm going to show you what it is. So I meant to play a C. That's a C. And somehow my fingers all went one string down. And I played that. And I don't know what that's called. I literally do not know. Somebody out there knows, and you can tell me, you can teach me how to play the goddamn guitar. I don't know what that's called. But I started playing. I was like, I like that. Where do we go from there? How about E minor? And that's how Safe in Your Love got written. And it accidentally starts out kind of like Space Oddity. And I have a really cool story about Gail Ann Dorsey, Bowie's bass player. and safe in your love. But I'm going to have to share it for another time. I'm going to have to wait to share it for another time because it's getting late and we really have to wrap this up. Dead Face. You ever listen to Creature Feature? Sure. I asked them if they wanted to go on tour with me once, and they were like, no, we have day jobs. And that was it. I was like, okay. And then never saw them again. But yeah, we played a show together. They opened for me in, I'm going to say San Diego. And I really like their circusy sound. You know, they do cool stuff. Not sure if they're still around, but they're still making records, but I certainly dug them. Okay. What about moving to Puerto Rico? I'm not opposed to moving to Puerto Rico.
Me neither.
Huh?
Me neither.
You too, right?
Yeah.
Puerto Rico's beautiful.
I've never been there, but it's pretty.
I don't know about the hurricanes. I'm a little afraid of the hurricanes, but there's a lot of hurricanes. The culture of Hawaii is being repressed by tourism. Well, the culture of everywhere is being repressed by tourism. Have you ever been to the United States of America? You think it looks like the indigenous culture at all? It's just the way of the world, I guess. And I think that's going to be it. Well, here's a lengthy one. What does it say? Oh no, it's just some of them keep popping up again and again. It's like the same one. Maybe I'm in a weird causality loop. Hey, about to go to bed. Just want to thank you for all the inspiration your music has given me to be myself. It helped lead me to being open about my intersex condition in an online interview. Cool, Evie. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad the music has been able to help. That comment came in at 12:35 and it's 1:07, so Evie has probably gone to bed, I'm afraid. But thank you all for tuning in. Morticia Moonflower, what class do you play in D&D? I do not play any classes. If I played games, I would never write songs and write books and make movies and do any of that stuff. So I just don't play games for that reason. I probably would really enjoy it. Nicole, you completely forgot me. You once paid me with I gotta put my glasses on for this. I can't read these little letters. Ah, yes. Life takes many twists and turns. And I am from back when you had just started the odds. Okay, cool. Thank you. But, it's kind of hard to remember somebody with no photograph and just a screen name. So I apologize. It was not intentional. I did not forget you intentionally. And I thank you very, very, very much for your contribution. Next time, send a photo. And also like a screenshot of your passport. I'm just kidding. Just joking. Thank you very much, Nicole. Morticia, that's my nickname. And with that, folks, oh my goodness, what does Evie say? Evie didn't go to sleep after all. Had to post my message as a regular comment above because Super Chat has a limit. Wanted to support you anyway. Sleep time for me now. Well, maybe we did miss Evie after all, but thank you very much for the Super Chat. No one is spamming. I'm trying to ask Voltaire a real question. All right. What's going on here? Is somebody posting the same question 33 million times? Is that what's happening? That happens sometimes. Hi, Voltaire. Where does your love for full step down tuning come from? My range. That's where it comes from. So I tune my entire guitar down a full step because I have a very limited range. I don't have a great voice. I have a very limited range. So by tuning down the guitar, I can play open chords because I guess that's the other part. I don't know how to play bar chords. If I played bar chords, I could play anywhere, but I don't know how to play bar chords. So by tuning down the guitar an entire step, the guitar, like the open chords, are just naturally where my voice sounds best. So that, I think we should just end on that because that's such a great question and such a concise answer. Ladies and gentlemen, if I did not get to your question, I apologize. Oh, got to read this one. Hold on. Bipple. unironically, a business student looking into starting up medical and bioscience tech companies will buy a house if I conquer the industry. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. Conquer that industry. Buy me a shack when I'm 80. Can you share something about the song Snakes? Asks guitarist. Snakes was written for the album The Devil's Bris about the relationship I had at the time. I'm not going to divulge too much, but it was someone I was with for many, 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 many years. And as we were breaking up, as people do, the first time, because we were breaking up the first time when I was working on The Devil's Bris, I had all those terrible jealous feelings that you have, like when somebody, like your partner, their patterns change, and like suddenly they're going out on Thursday or Friday nights and they're not telling you with whom, or they say that it's with a friend and it sounds unlikely and you don't get a lot of details. And I just started getting those awful paranoid feelings that you get of like, this person's cheating on me. What are they doing? They say they're here, but they're probably there. And that is exactly what the song is about, because I think when my career first started, I naively thought that all of those terrible, dark feelings that we all have that nobody ever expresses should maybe be expressed in some songs. And it kind of like caught people's attention. I thought it ended up being very good for me. People were like, wow, this guy is singing about stuff I never hear anybody saying, but pretty much everyone has felt. And it's one of those songs. So I guess that's pretty much it for Snakes. Toby, yes. Sarah, thank you very much. Toby Froud. We should get him involved in Black Labyrinth. What do you think? Okay, wow. Emily says, biggest flaws in the goth community near me would be the neo-Nazis. I think the bar near me started doing emo and otaku nights to bring more people in. I've literally never heard of neo-Nazis in the goth scene. And I'm not saying they don't exist. I've just never seen that. In the punk scene in the 80s, there was some of that going on, but there was just so much hatred against it that it was so unpopular to be like a neo-Nazi that just didn't really take off. But I don't see that in the goth scene very often. And I hope I never do. The Labyrinth baby was called Toby. Yes, thank you, Sarah. And oh my God, I just know that I can get to the bottom of these comment. Can I get? Is it really? No, of course not. This Laurel Bush. Thank you for the super sticker. This Laurel Bush. Doc Holiday. I love DIY and thrifting from my wardrobe. Me too. I think boxer briefs. Oh man, people discussing my underwear. Oh geez, that's rough. I'll give you a hint. They're Calvin Klein. All right, I'm just going to tell you. So I wear like Calvin Klein-ish underwear that are like really long. Like those kind that like come down almost to your knee. Because it's the only way I don't look fat in my underwear. I don't know why. I think it's just because it covers more. And I feel like I don't look as like chubby as someone who loved the mature man, goth librarian you just achieved with those glasses, says Luna. That's funny. Yes, and I am a mature man, and the more mature I get, the chubbier I get around the middle. And I think that's why I wear those underwear, because they're almost like girdles. They're like high-waisted and really long. I don't know. And I keep promising I'm going to end the stream, but I'm addicted to your questions. Jesse says, I love your covers of Tori Amos's Caught a Light Sneeze and Bjork's Bachelorette. You should do more covers of them. Thank you. I like those covers too. I got to say though, I never received more hate as I did for that cover of Tori Amos. I got so much hate mail, like from Tori Amos fans, like saying that I sounded like an idiot, like a drunken lounge singer stumbling through lines like, I need a big loan from the girl zone. So I chose not to change any of the lyrics, and a lot of people gave me a hard time for that, but whatever. Again, you just do what you do. You throw the work out there, and hopefully people like it, and some people aren't going to, and that's okay. That's, natural part of being an artist, unfortunately.
Dice aquí, Mayumi, make him stop so you aren't late. Secondhand anxiety.
Oh, someone's getting anxiety from us
Yes.
still being on the stream?
Yes.
Yeah. I can imagine. Okay. Will you be in Virginia Beach area anytime soon? Cynthia asks. I don't know. I've never been ever been booked to play in Virginia Beach. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I would go there in a heartbeat. Oh, dude, I absolutely love for you to come play in Seattle. Robert, Bobby, I have played in Seattle every single year for 20 years at a place called El Corazon. I play there every single year. Last show was July 31st. So expect to see me back probably around July. And now I really have to stop because if I don't, there's not going to be a show in Phoenix, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. It means a lot to me that you care a little or at all about what I'm doing. I really mean that. So I love that you tune in, and I hope you've enjoyed the sneak peeks into the Black Labyrinth. I just wanted to play you the whole damn album, to be honest with you, but that's really not very productive. I hope you enjoyed my very rough attempt at my world premiere song, The Soldier's Blade, a cave elf hymn. I hope you liked that. And I hope that someday we can get back to Gothic homemaking once Black Labyrinth is in the can, as it were. If you can support, please do. It's greatly appreciated. Come find me on the Patreon for all of the exclusive goodies that happen all month long. And now, without further ado, Mayumi and I are going to pack our merch, pack our clothes, and go to the airport. And I hope to see some of you tomorrow night in Phoenix, Arizona. And after that, where are we going to be? I forgot already. Nope, that's not it. Jacksonville, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Shawnee, Oklahoma, Burlingame, California, and then, of course, the UK tour in Glasgow, Edinburgh, York, Manchester, Bristol, and London. All of those shows are coming up very soon, and there are many more that are going to be added. Thank you again for sharing a couple of hours with us. We really appreciate that you're here. See you soon. Bye-bye.